I was just talking about Seattle and how there's this element of safety that's perceived in Seattle.
Right.
You do a lot of buying and selling of real estate in Mexico to a lot of American citizens.
That's right.
And I guess, to me, it just begs the question, because if you watch the news, every American in Mexico is getting, killed.
Of course.
Right? I mean, everyone. That's what happens when you go there.
Right.
But that's not true.
Well, it's the first question when I say I sell properties in Mexico, and they say, "Oh, you're going to get killed,"
Right.
and cut in pieces and put back together to get killed one more time. So it's about perspective, and yes,
And you're here talking.
I'm here talking about how it got put together again.
Yeah. You're like Humpty Dumpty.
Yes. But it's about safety, and that's the main question: how safe it is, and it's up to perspectives, and it's true. Things happen the same way things happen here in Rainier Valley and Belltown Saturday night. Things happen in Mexico, but I'm trying to I'm bringing here some numbers.
Sure.
And I have a friend who started doing research on this and say, okay, when is the first point when the U.S. the closest point when the U.S. approached to Mexico in murders per citizens? And it was actually 91. 91, the U.S. has 9.4 murders per every 100,000 citizens, and Mexico has 10.4 murders per every 100,000.
Pretty similar numbers.
Very similar numbers. And what happened after that? Because right now the U.S. have 4.8 murders per every 100,000 citizens, and Mexico has 22.
Wow.
Right. We went up.
Yeah.
And
we went down, amazingly.
Yeah, we went down. And the thing is this, the research, there's many reasons. But the main reason is consumption of drugs. Demand increased 3 times in the U.S. for drugs. And as you know, Mexico is the pathway. And there is a lot of fights for that control. And that's kind of the interesting thing. But
and that's where I think a lot of the safety questions start to stem from, because that's what really makes the news.
Right.
It's never, this, couple was honeymooning down at the resort and somebody came in and decapitated them and then left.
Right.
It's typically more...
It's very typical. But if you go here in the U.S., yes, it's 4.8, right? But if you go to a specific cities, there is a report from Forbes magazine, and they were talking about Buffalo. There's 1,238 crimes, violent crimes for every 100,000 citizens.
Wow.
It's off the chart. And if you keep going up, actually Detroit is 2,137 violent crimes.
That's incredible.
For every 100,000 citizens. So
That's
it's
over 2%.
Yep. It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Yes, but this I want to go deeper on this.
Sure.
As a U.S. citizen, what's my risk in Mexico? And there is this research from the Department of Homeland Security from January 2007 to December 2010. There was 669 Americans who died in Mexico.
From what years were those?
2007, January 2007 to December 2010.
It's about 4 years.
In 4 years, right? In those 4 years, 45 million U.S. citizens fly to Mexico. So from those 669, 389 die from an accident, car, plane, boat. 85 drowned. 15 drug overdose, and 61 suicide. So really bad, right? But from all those, only 126 were actually murdered.
And those were probably the people out getting drugs before they overdosed.
Oh, yeah, of course. They weren't doing something good, probably.
Right.
And it's really bad. But if you see from 45 million U.S. citizens who go to Mexico, 126 got actually murdered. And it's really bad. But your survival rate is actually, as a U.S. citizen in Mexico, is 99.997%. So the thing is this. Is it safe? It's up to perspective. And the numbers shows.
Sure.
The thing is this. Right here, before spring break, it's going to be big news. And I don't know, maybe it came out already. Department of Tourism of Florida is the one who pushed the news for Mexico to be unsafe. Why? Because we want the dollars to stay in the U.S. They want the spring breakers to go to Florida instead of going to Mexico. right? Because it's better for the economy.
Sure.
I get it.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So really, a lot of these numbers are pushed with economic agendas of other states and tourism.
Of course. And I don't want to block the sun with my finger. There's problems in Mexico, especially in the border,
Sure.
And but people are very respectful about tourism because they know they bring the money. They know they create jobs with the money, and it's their income of the Mexico.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Rodolfo Hernandez joins us discussing the safety and the real estate opportunities that all lie in Mexico. Rodolfo, tell me a little bit more about maybe, so it is safe. Does that mean it's the right place to buy property?
It's Mexico is not for everybody. Mm-hmm. It needs to be a little more adventurous. It's Spanish is not a must. Most of the big cities it's a bilingual population, and but yes, it's an option for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. It's an option. Definitely, you can buy more home or better view home from the same money that you buy here. That's a big attraction.
It's not dirt cheap anymore, is it?
Depending where you go. If
Yeah.
you go to the main tourist places, the prices are higher than here.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. And the thing is this, because the demand was so high, prices went up. Mm-hmm. And but still, you still find oceanfront and for less than 200,000.
Really?
Uh-huh.
So you can get to some of these, really nice places.
Yes, you can. And the thing is where you're looking for and what's your preference, where you want to live, how close to an airport, how far from there, how adventurous. You want the real people, you want the tourist place. You can have everything.
So really top to bottom, and there's a lot of choices to be made for just about anybody who would consider this.
Yes, and last 2 weeks ago, I was down there talking to an expat, actually from Buren, and he found this oceanfront home for $35,000.
Wow.
It needs a lot of work.
Sure.
But he didn't care. He wants to be in front of the water.
An oceanfront house.
House.
How big of a house?
Two bed, one bath. It's around 1,000 square feet.
Right on the ocean.
Right on the ocean. He said, open the door in the backyard, there is sand, and just walk to the ocean.
That sounds like a good deal.
Yep, but he was far from the tourist places, but he didn't care.
Well, I guess that's the difference if you want to go engulf yourself in tourism or engulf yourself with, I guess, being in Mexico. Because a lot of the tourist places it's pretty Americanized Mexico.
Yes, it's Disneyland.
What's that?
Mexican Disneyland.
Is that what you guys call it? Is that that's what it's
well,
called?
you come out and you have all these shiny blue and red logos.
Anywhere there's a Margaritaville is like,
yeah.
right? Like, wait a minute. Anywhere the tour, cruise ship stop.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And the thing is this, you don't need to go that far. I was in Cancun a month ago, and, I got tired of. And says, I'm going to start driving a little bit more southeast.
To go to like Playa?
So I started past Playa, and then got hungry. So I was paying like $35 breakfast at this place, right? And then I went and I saw this small shack, and this is grilled fish. Stopped by, the menu was written in a napkin, and they have 3 choices of fish. And I said, this one. And then I see the little kid running to the ocean. Right?
No kidding.
And then he runs, and then the dad was there in a small boat, went there, came back with this fish.
Spearfish, went and got it.
And then the fish was still alive, got just cleaned right there in front of me, grilled it. It was the most amazing fish.
What?
And I was like, wow. And then I was like, how much? And it was less than $2.
No kidding.
So you can see this contrast very
and the
$35
$35 fish was probably frozen and flown in.
I know, from Costco.
From
Sorry,
Costco.
the Costco guys.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
Isn't that the truth? Rodolfo, any other big key points that people need to think about before buying in Mexico?
Check it out. Check it out. Real estate in Mexico is done very different than the U.S. But the thing is this. It's a system that works. It's the same way that real estate has been done in Europe for 500 years.
And what is that that's so different?
The real estate agent is mostly a marketing person. And there is no liability for the real estate agent. The real estate agent job is to promote the property. But there is no disclosures. The disclosures comes later. And the contract gets put together by an attorney called notario. And it's a centralized system. The notario is in charge of check title. And now The main common question is, can I own fee simple in Mexico? And the truth is yes, with conditions. We have a very old law in Mexico that is around 50 miles from the border and shoreline, that a foreign person cannot own fee simple. The law was created after Mexico lost Texas. Gave away Texas. What happened with Texas? Okay, and Mexico allowed foreign people to move into Texas, and then Texas decided to go to other routes. So that's
now Texas just wants to be Texas, so that's a whole other story.
So the law was created. Okay, we won't do the same mistake. So now every foreign person who moves in Mexico cannot own fee simple, 50 miles from the border, right?
Sure.
And the shoreline too to protect the borders. It's an old law. So now, to own in Mexico, you need to create a Mexican entity. The easiest way is to create a trust. And it's the same thing that here you buy a property under LLC.
Sure.
You put the property on the LLC name, all the liabilities on the LLC. Even Mexicans are buying through the trust.
Where there's a will, there's a way, huh?
Yeah, because the thing is this, the trust is less liability. I own property in Mexico under a trust because it's easy to will, and the liability is less. Because if my tenant does something wrong, it goes against the trust, not against me. It's the same protection of a LLC.
Sure. Rodolfo, thanks so much for joining us. We do have to go to break.
No problem.
Always a pleasure to chat with you, especially about Mexican real estate, because we don't get to hear about that much. And I know people are thinking, well, people are retiring. People have money. People need a place to go.